this is Prue's subject, which she set up. It has got a cylinder, a rectangle, and a wedge in a carrier bag. So it's her shopping bag with a picnic inside, what she's going to eat. What she was pointing out, that the width of it is double the height. And if we go back, that's useful. So what you have to do, you can line up your pencil or hold your pencil out in front of you vertically, line up the top of your pencil with the top of the subject and run your thumb down to the bottom of the subject. Then whatever that piece of your pencil is, whatever that size is, you then turn it horizontally and see how many times it goes into the actual width. And in Prue's bag's case, the height goes into the width twice. Bag here is quite simple. I don't know if you can see, if I hold my pencil up, line up the top of my pencil with the top of the bag, and then run my thumb down until I get to the bottom of the bag, and I'll have to do it from a slightly bigger pencil because that's not big enough. Okay, so I run my thumb down, keeping the top lined up with the top of the bag, and then get my fingers to the very bottom edge, so this bottom edge. Okay, can you see that? Is that possible to see on the camera?
Yes.
Okay, then if I turn my pencil so it's absolutely horizontal,
So
I can observe that this bag is square. Surprise, surprise. And so that's quite useful information. When I come to draw it, the first thing I will obviously do is to draw a square. So I'm going to first of all draw a vertical line. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I'll try and make it a bit darker. And then I'd obviously draw a horizontal line to represent the top edge. Now I can check that I've done that line and that line the same by literally laying my pencil on the page, putting my thumb and my finger at the end of the line, and then comparing it with the other line. And I can see that I've actually accurately drawn that and that. Okay, and then obviously I would push in the other side. And then draw across the bottom in the hope that they join up. Well, that one needs to be a tiny bit longer. Okay, there's my square. Now, okay, this is very basic. My bag is up, as you can see, is a three-dimensional bag. So I would then draw in, or try and draw in, a bit of the side. Okay, so that's the sort of top edge, this bit here. And it's because it's slightly at an angle, it's in perspective. So I then will draw the bottom edge, and it's an angle that goes up to meet this edge. Okay, can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Then I can put in the back edge, which I know is parallel to the front edge. And then I have the challenge of making sure I get this other part here correctly drawn. And I would just go like this. It's a zigzag sort of shape, like that. And then I can see a little bit of the back through it like that. Okay. Now that's sort of, it's a really basic drawing. It's got no shading, it's got no detail in it whatsoever. And just to go back to what I was talking about with those drawings of Barry's, which were on the PowerPoint, which I showed you, and I'll show you again afterwards, where the back edge could be a lighter line. If I make this front edge deliberately stronger and darker, it's going to come forward towards me. You can already see that happening. Can you see that happening? Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Again, I could do the same with this side edge. I could deliberately weight up part of the line. I could weight up maybe a bit of the line here, because what I'm seeing again is that there's a bit of a fold there. This bit here that's closer to me is darker, and in order to emphasize this bottom edge, which is again not getting so much light, I could actually weight up a bit of this underneath, and that's without doing any shading whatsoever. So if you want to bring an edge closer to you, you can do what I've just done. You can weight up the line in places. It doesn't have to be all the way along, it can just be part of it. In terms of shading, okay, this inner part of the bag is obviously receiving less light, so I might, use a bit of shading on the inside of the bag, like so. And then you can go on to doing the remainder of what's there within the bag. Now, for those of you like Prue and me who are doing material bags, I thought it occurred to me that, and this is also relevant to what we're going to do on Friday, if you just could draw a rectangle, first of all, just draw two straight vertical lines that are about 2 inches apart. This is just an exercise, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. Now, there are different ways of using a pencil. At the moment, most of the time, I'm using it like that on its point, okay? But you can hold it in its middle, and you can use it on its side, like so, especially when you're doing shading, or tone, should I say. And sometimes, that is actually relevant. You want to get more pressure on the paper, you want to make a darker tone, or you want to make a lighter tone. Now, what I do prefer not to see in a drawing is the direction lines of the pencil. And if I carried on just doing, if I loosely do this when I'm filling in something, you can see the direction lines of the pencil very, very clearly, and it's not very attractive. You see that? Whereas when I actually close up and overlap from one tone to the next and avoid the white paper coming through, it allows me to create a tone on my page. This is called tone, going from dark to light, like that. Okay, so what I would like you to just do, and it doesn't need to be very big, you can do it smaller than mine if you wish. I want you to start with doing it as light as you can, well, at the bottom where there's no line, and then gradually increase the shading to the end where you do it very, very dark and solid. And I want to be able to see a sort of imperceptible transition between the light and the dark. Now I'm going to turn my board round and I'm going to just make a start so you can see what I'm talking about. I hope you'll still be able to see the board. Yes, you can, just about. Question is whether I can actually draw like this. Okay, so starting very light with your pencil on its side, or barely touching the paper, no pressure, okay? Just lightly shade in, right from one side to the other, and go back over it if you notice yourself leaving gaps, and then bring that shading down. And as you bring it down, you can begin to increase the pressure of the pencil on the page. Keeping a pencil on the side all the time, and anytime you see sort of lines appearing, just go back over them and keep going right down to the bottom. And gradually make the marks darker and the pressure, more pressure on the page. You can slightly alter the direction of your pencil if you wish to do that. So I was working at a diagonal just now, and now I moved to an up and down motion. And I'm going to go back and keep going on a diagonal until you get to the bottom here, and then you put your fingers up to that line so you don't go over the line. Then keep going backwards and forwards until you make it as dark as you possibly can down the bottom here. Again, keep your fingers there. Now, at this point, you probably will need to change directions. In order to get it blacker, you'll have to go over it in both horizontal, vertical and diagonal directions, or even maybe in the other way, the other diagonal. So it's like you're not filling in, but you're creating a sort of a dark tone. Okay. Now you can do this round as curve. You can do it, you know, on a flat rectangular surface like I've done here. But what I'm trying to emphasize is using your pencil to actually create a really strong sense of tone. Can you see that? So it goes from light gradually down to dark. And you can do the same with the actual line that you've got around an object. You can start with that virtually no line, then gradually put the pressure of your point on more, until you get to a very dark, black, rich, velvety line. And I'm doing all this with a B pencil. Okay. So if you can bring some of this into your drawing, so that you do have evidence of velvety rich marks, as well as these sort of pale, very pale and halftone marks. Okay, this is shading, but it can occur in the mark making as well. All right, this bit here is the material it's sitting on, but for the sake of people like Chris and Prue for that matter, I have used the technique I just described to you to create the folds of the material. I drew them first in outline, so I drew the lines, you know, to indicate where the folds were, and then I very carefully and consciously looked at them and shaded them in, because I thought, well, if I get the dark material in behind the shopping bag, the shopping bag is cream. There aren't many sort of really dark. I mean, there are the odd dark on the folds of the bag itself, but I feel I've got the shapes in proportion in the shopping bag. They're in the right place, and the width and the height works okay. So already I've actually developed this drawing halfway, I would say. So I think if you finish that little exercise, those exercises I showed you just now, I would begin your drawing in exactly the same approach. Draw the outline shape of the whole bag, first of all, very simply as a line. And then, you know, if you've got a front edge, look at where the front edge is. In this case, you know, I could now begin to sort of establish my front edge a little bit more carefully so that I could actually see it. You know, it's not very clear, it's because this is such a light drawing at the moment, but I'm going to do what I said and referred to in Barry's drawing, is to bring that front edge forward. So I will weight up the line a little bit along the front edge so that you'll be able to see the front edge of the bag, because I feel that is probably the most important part in the drawing and will help to make it look three-dimensional. Outline of the shape first, having established the proportion of the height to the width, and then begin to develop what's important in the bag you've got, you know, whether, you know, it's the front edge you want to bring forward and the bottom edge of the bag, whatever it is. And we'll have a look at each other's drawings in about half an hour.
Dee, could you refocus the camera?
That better? Yes.
Oh, yes. See,
Yeah.
could you zoom in by a couple of centimeters?
Yes.
Yep, that's good.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to stop for a minute and show me what you've been doing. I'll just zoom out a bit on mine. That's as far as I've got on mine.
Say it's 10-2.
Pardon?
It's 10-2.
Thank you.